This to the Business and Real Estate Professionals podcast,
What
Oh,
do we call
goodness.
formerly known as the 100 Millionaires podcast, formerly known as me, Mitch, and Mike, just talking about real estate. Mike, bring us in, brother.
Oh shit, what do we say? Oh yeah, massive income from passive income. It's been so freaking long.
It's been too long. Mitch, how do we do it?
Oh, God. You organize and collect. And as a
That's
real estate investor, sometimes that's easier said than done when it comes to labor and help.
right.
Labor and help. You know, it's funny because Ron and I, we years ago were like, money's not the issue. Deals are not the issue. It's just hiring good people because we kept getting
Wow.
capped at the labor side
Facts.
of things.
Yeah.
We'd lock down 20, 30 units and it'd be like, how do we process all of this? And then we'd stop buying for a year and then
Right.
do it again,
Yeah.
and do it again. And it's like, man, like if we had, he and I said it so many times, we're like, if we just had a good team we could slam real estate into, like we never would have stopped. We never would have stopped. It would just be buy,
You are
raise, like,
preaching to the choir right now. This is
Mm.
literally exactly how I felt the last year or two. And every time I think we're kind of like have a team where I'm like, oh, I can ramp this up. Like we can have stuff going on. Like I can be lining up next deals while we're in the middle of the other ones. And then as soon as I start going that approach, then the wheels fall off and I realize, all right, yes, unfortunately, there's a lot of unreliable people and there's only so
Especially-
much that just me and my partner can get done ourselves. So
they
Especially
start nickel
since
and diming
COVID.
you, or they start taking vacations.
Especially
Yeah.
since COVID, they got the whole the great resignation. Everybody was getting lots of money
yep.
from the government and doing Bitcoin and
You know what the
they're like,
worst thing is, Mike? Everybody seems to be a freaking coach now. You got like contractors, electricians,
Yeah.
roofers. So like, here's how you install a roof. Sign up for my coaching program. It's like, dude, no, go do a roof.
Yeah, go
I need
install
the roof done.
Who are you
Stop
kidding?
selling coaching. Get my
I don't
roof
install
done.
roofs. I coach you on how you could be a roof installer.
Here's how I made 6 figures in 2019. I installed all the roofs because I was the only one installing roofs. It's like,
Right?
bro, go back to installing roofs.
Yeah.
There's a lot
That
of
was
money to be
working
made in
for you.
roofs. There's a lot of roofing needs. And it also depends on your market. Obviously, South Florida, everything was built in 2000, 2001, like literally 50% of South Florida. So like all the roofs are kind of like due to be done, especially because of insurance. So like I know roofers down here printing money. And then obviously,
So they
Massachusetts,
can't hire people.
you
Like
don't have,
that's their problem. They can't hire people.
yeah, you don't have the same cycle, but there's still
Yeah.
enough demand. And the problem is actually having the roofers do the roof because they are trying to do too many jobs at the same time. And I had a roof that just finished today that basically took more than twice as long as it was supposed to take, but that was because it was such sporadic work. And
Oh yeah, they show up, they put the plywood on, they tarp it, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll be back. We'll finish it."
yeah, and then it's
It
like
doesn't
they're going to
happen.
finish another job,
week-
and then
a week,
then
yeah.
Right.
then they have some regular that presses them that like, yo, you need to do this like now, otherwise I'm giving it to someone else, and then they squeeze that in, and then you're just like, yo, bro, not cool.
It's,
Right.
it's been a week and a half. Like there's literally paper on my roof. I need to go shingle this bitch. Let's get it done.
It
Right.
just
Yeah.
throws your whole
I know.
timeline and all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The other
that's
side of
working
that
bad.
is pretty cool though. We had a house here, a 3-family, and they came in 8 in the morning and it was done by like 5. And like 8 guys running around with a 4x8 plywood, just throwing it at each other. I was like, oh my God.
It can be done in a
Done
day.
in one
I've
day.
seen it done in a
Yeah,
day. I
done-
know.
And
Beautiful
we've
job,
had that.
too.
We've had
Beautiful
that
job.
good experience as well, where
Yeah.
there was a big crew and they banged out a big job like in 2 or 3 days that could have took 2 weeks if it was just a few guys.
Yeah.
So here's my new rule: metal freaking roofs.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
we
that's a
bought-
Florida. I feel like that's a Florida thing. I feel like I see them up north.
Bro, I got them in Illinois. So we
Okay.
have the 34
Nice.
units, 35 units,
Yeah.
the 4 buildings, all 4 buildings, metal roofs, brick exterior. And it's like I got a
Bomb shelter.
bomb shelter, like a resistant, like nature resistant building, and then all we had to do was like tenant proof the thing. Which
Is it loud? Is it loud when it rains or what's the?
no, it's all insulated, so like they
Oh,
can't
okay.
hear it.
Yeah, that's always been the worry of people. You like, is that going to be loud? But yeah,
Yeah.
apparently it's just the noise from the insulation.
Yeah.
It's,
Because there's a
yeah, it's
loud
become more and more
rotan.
popular. Metal roofs.
Metal roof and Roatan, it's loud.
A metal
Oh,
roof and
yeah.
Roatan, because they don't have the insulation in those attics. Like
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
air
yeah.
There we
vented.
go. We just thought of a new business right there. We need to start shipping some insulation to Roatan, and we can be the insulation kings of
Yes.
Roatan.
That's right.
Bro, I know a guy
I mean,
who
I'm kidding
makes
around, but at the
bank.
same time, it's probably $1 million business.
Oh, it
Right.
is. Like I was just saying, I got a buddy who makes like $1 million, more than $1 million a year, just installing insulation just on the government dollar, right? Just on like the, I think it's the gas
Oh, I
company
believe that, dude.
grants.
The Mass Save.
The
we
mass
had
save,
a
that's what it
4-unit.
is.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
had so we got a 4-unit insulated right through Mass Save. So we got
Yep,
for free. Didn't pay
Right.
a dime.
same.
I mean,
Yep.
granted, they do like 7 inspections after the fact, and it's so super annoying. It ends up being like a 6-month process. But anyway, I saw like the contract and the billing
Yeah.
for each unit, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I would never have gotten the building insulated if I was quoted at that price. Like, 1 unit was the cost of what I thought the whole building should have been. And I'm like, well, that makes sense because the government does pay like $600 for a hammer. So
Right.
that's what, yeah. So I believe that these, because like whoever the contractor was that did the job, like I don't even want to know how much you got paid. Like if it was like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is insane.
We had
Sam pays the best.
when Brenda's mom
Yes.
moved into the shack in
I love how you
Hannah's
call it a
shack.
shack. It's
Well,
a,
we
it's a
always called it
cottage.
Hannah's
It's a little
shack.
cottage on the lake,
But
on the
Did
water.
you put her in the
Rise-
shoe shed in the backyard?
Rise, which is our version of Mass Save,
Yeah.
came in. Rhode Island saves energy, whatever the hell it is. Anyways, they came in, but because she was elderly, they did everything. They blew in insulation, they replaced the windows, they did all the bulbs, all that stuff for free, even though we owned the property and Brenda's mom. So I was just thinking we should have just moved Brenda's mom from place to place and it'd be free every time.
I had a tenant that used to do that for me. So he was in
Really?
the first floor. Yeah, he was in the first floor, and then he was like, "Hey, I want to do this." Mass save. I was like, "Cool, knock yourself out. I'll sign all the paperwork." Sure.
Yeah.
And then he moves to another building. I'm like, he's like, "I want to do this thing." I was like, "Let's go." He's already in the building. I got other
amazing.
buildings. Let's move you in.
That's amazing.
So it's like really
Yeah.
beneficial. Like,
Yeah.
and he got all the tenants rallied. They're like, "Yeah, we should all do this." Like, bro, I'm gonna put you in every one of my buildings.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'll pay for you to move. This is the quick little
Mhm.
fee.
Nice job.
Speaking of money out of nowhere, it cost me $100,000. It didn't cost me $100,000. Let me just say this the proper way. The hospital billed a $94,000 bill for Emerson for the whole process of like
Oh, wow.
surgery,
Yeah.
stay,
Yeah.
like all of it. And Dorena told me that leading up to the hospital was about $6,000, in doulas and like education courses and diapers and shit that we bought in advance,
Yeah.
doctor's visits in advance. So I did the math, and like my dog is a 6-figure child. Like that is a 6-figure baby, but
Yeah.
I've only spent I think $12,000. Like of all of it, I paid the first 6 out of pocket, the next 6
Oh,
out of
yeah.
pocket, and then the rest is pay for the like 80
Insurance definitely helps when you
88,000
have a
insurance,
baby.
right? So I was looking at it and I just told her, I said, there's $88,000 that I didn't pay for that I got the value of,
Yeah. Wow.
that the hospital is going to get paid. Now I know I have not paid in the entire lifetime of the two of us combined into insurance, any insurance company, that much money.
Yeah.
You're
I'm certain of
welcome.
it.
My insurance dollars are paying for your baby.
Yeah.
Here's my point. Here's where I'm getting at. Where else is this? Where else does this show up in business where a person can get a massive value and benefit, but somebody else pays for it? A government entity, an insurance policy. Like where is those spaces? Because I want to be on the other side of that. That's yeah, don't even worry about it. You said you want to serve it, you want to have a baby, and you want to do it with the medical system. Because there's other people like our doula was like, oh yeah, there's a person like the hospital costs you $3,000. You just don't. Anytime they go to try to scan your badge, you say no. Like so they go to scan the bracelet, you're like, nah, I don't want that.
Oh, wow.
Because I asked us, do you want that? We're like, yep. Yes. Just like whatever it is. Yes.
Yeah. And then your insurance just covers it.
That's right. Insurance coverage.
Amazing. Amazing.
So this person had no insurance. They were entrepreneurs, had no insurance, and so they were like, "No, we're paying out of pocket." So there was a $3,000 bill, and then they went back and said, "Hey, if we pay today, what can you do for us? They're like, well, it'll be $1,500. So they were able to have a baby, same process, have a baby, and
Yeah,
no surgery. Like we went through a little more of an intense
yeah.
5-day stay at the hospital.
Your eyes went like this again.
It was intense. It was
Yeah,
magical. It was magical. It was,
Yeah.
you know, it was a fun
Yeah.
adventure. It was marvelous, fantastic. And I just think about it. It's like, okay, so this person can get similar service, get out $1,500, or you could get the 6-figure treatment, and then the insurance company pays for it. Like, where are these deals? Now, I know in real estate, we got the Section 8. Like, that's kind of a gig where the tenant can have a really nice apartment, and you can put the rent to market rate, and you get most of it is paid for by Section 8. Where else is that? Where else does this show up? And I think the lending side is okay, because I know college students go to school and they pay a big debt, and they get this big debt, and then the debt gets forgiven.
right.
So, like, how do I get on the other side of that? Like, I want to get on the
You'd be
transaction.
an illegal immigrant coming in, and then you'll get free housing, free food card.
I want something scalable, Mike. I want
Okay.
I want to do something 7-8 figures with
Okay.
it. But it was just like a great experience. Like, the customer service of the hospital was great. You know, but that money thing, I started looking at it as a business on the app side of it. I'm like, okay, for 5 days they were upselling. Hey, we could do this. Do you want that? Of course we do. Yeah, sure. Knock us out. Yeah, bring it in. Would you like us to
Did
bring you
you-
breakfast?
and
Of course
did
I want you
you-
to bring me breakfast.
Did you know what your share was? Like what you had to kick in every time you said, yeah, let's do this, or
No idea.
no idea?
No idea. I
Gotcha.
was pretty blind into it. At the end, at that point, I was like, whatever it costs, I'll outwork it. Like, whatever it is. Then she told me it's only $6,000. I was like, please sign me up for all of it.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
job.
At this point, we're way into the value side of it.
Yeah. Now you got a baby.
Now I got a baby. Totally worth it. Right? Little 6-figure child, man. Oh,
Nice
he's
job.
like greatest thing I ever did. Mitch, you should do it. You should try this. It's really a lot of fun.
Right? And he's
It
your
is.
little guy. It's so much fun. It's nobody else's. I mean, it's not like your neighbors.
Yeah, I can't complain about him. Like, it's like, well, that's kind of my fault.
Yeah.
He does anything, I'm like, I see where you got that. Okay.
I
Well,
noticed that the crying doesn't bother me as much as other kids.
oh my goodness.
No.
They always say it doesn't bother you when it's your baby. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope so, because like crying is probably my least favorite sound.
Right.
Like,
No, I swear
in
to
the
God, I
world.
was one of those guys that would say, would that baby be quiet on the airplane? You know?
Can we please throw the baby out of the plane?
Yeah, right.
That's
Can
just-
Then
can
you
the
have your
baby
own,
and the
you-
parents get a parachute?
You have your own, you're like, oh my God, that's so adorable.
Can we leave them in the luggage in the back? Is there a quiet place for them, like a cabin? Throw them in the bathroom. Like, take them to the bathroom, just sit there for the rest of the flight.
Right.
I might have
What is it? What is this mush? Put him in the bathroom.
But now I'm like, please, guys. He cries like an angel. Listen to that voice.
So
He's such a
cute.
great communicator.
Yeah.
Practicing.
There you
Nice.
go. Talk about serendipity. So right as we're talking about this and trying to, embrace the joys of human life, my little affirmation app popped up with today's message that said, I am looking for ways to express love. I'm looking for beauty in the present moment. I'm looking for beacons of hope everywhere I go.
Nice.
Seek and you shall find, my friend. Right here, right in front of you. Beacons of hope.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boundless,
Cool.
boundless abundance.
Affirmations.
This
I like
is-
it. Oh,
Look at this. 3 and a
Well,
6.
maybe one day, Gualter, you never know where life takes one, but
right.
right
Look at
now,
this, guys. Look,
Uncle
look.
Mitch is still rolling.
This is the bill. I only got to pay $6,000 out of this.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
this is me having a blast. I'm like,
No, that's amazing. Is your
Totally
dad
worth
still
it.
down there with you, or did he go back?
now my dad headed home last
Yeah.
week. So he was there
That's
for
okay.
the first week. So he was like,
Yeah, he was there for a
seeing on
while.
day one. Yeah.
Yep. And does Dorina have family coming, or any sister or anything?
Nope. They all.
Yeah, I was actually
Serena said no.
speculating on when the baby will go to Russia and if Gualter is going to finally have to make the trip. And I'm like, all right, the
He
baby's
said he
probably not
is.
going to Russia until at least like a year old. So, and then the question is, what will the political climate be like and all the other stuff? And will Gualter be accompanying the baby to Russia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So if the baby goes to Russia, so here's the deal. If the baby goes to Russia while the baby's still breastfeeding, I have to go. But if Darina goes to Russia and
And
she's
he's
not
done.
breastfeeding, then I can keep the baby with me. So like,
Ah,
but she doesn't
keep
want
the
that.
baby. I thought the whole point of
Well,
going
the
to
whole point
Russia
of going to
was,
Russia is to bring the baby to her family.
yeah,
I
right.
know. She's not going to buy into this one. I know it's not an option. I just, in my head, I'm like, if we could just get him eating solid foods, he wouldn't have to go to Russia. He could stay home.
Oh
But-
Or
my
you could
goodness.
just enjoy Russia. I mean, it's amazing to see.
Or
Here's
you
the
could
deal.
say,
She wants
Merry
to go for a
Christmas.
month.
Next
A
summer.
Merry
month.
Christmas.
Next summer.
Merry Christmas, Darina's family. Mama Darina, I bought you a flight to Tampa.
Right.
There you
Like,
go.
so here, that's what I told her. So I was like, Darina, like, she's like, well, my mom's in a wheelchair. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of cost. I was like, so you're saying it's possible. So
I'm saying it's about me.
so it's work and
providing.
cost. I can outspend work and cost. I can bring in people like that. I can do, because I told her, I was like, babe, like I don't. She's like, well, we're gonna go for a month. I was like, you're not going for a month. That was cool when you were not a mother. Now,
Dude,
like,
be careful because she might come and decide she loves it. And you're living with the in-laws.
I know. I trust me, my fear too.
Yeah.
Like I can move out. Like I can go somewhere else. Like I can always get
Get
another
out.
apartment.
The best part, Mike, about all this
I can
is
get an
that,
office,
You'll
Mike.
be getting
I can go to an office during the day.
ADU. You'll have an ADU.
yes, ADU in the backyard. Mike, you know what the best part about all this is that a year from now, we can look back on how everything plays out and we can go back to this recording and say,
Right,
hey,
exactly.
remember what we thought was going to happen? And here's what actually happened.
Right.
Here's what actually went
Because
down.
we actually hit play on our 100 Millionaires podcast.
Welcome
fell into-
back. It's so good to be back. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about real estate, but not really.
Yeah.
Summit is 118 days away. I've been getting in shape. Mitch, how are you doing? How you gotta
Oh
look
my
good
God,
on
I'm gonna have to
stage?
step it back
TED
up.
Talk?
I've been focusing more on my, cardio playing basketball, and gym
Yeah.
is just maintenance. Like I go 2 days a
Uh-huh.
week to lift just to maintain, but
Okay.
I'm not intaking all the proteins as much as I was. So I've definitely given some back, but I think I need to because I was eating too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta take it easy,
Fair.
man. I also have been eating too much.
Me
There's
too.
a real thing. This whole dad bod thing is terrifying.
Yeah,
So
right.
I told
Don't
Doreen, I was like,
don't buy into it because I did that for a couple of years and I blew up. You don't, yeah.
I don't buy into it, Mike.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ate all the junk food because my dad doesn't necessarily eat the best food. So he
Yeah.
filled the house with a bunch of junk food. So I'm almost through it.
Yeah.
It's like my responsibility to just get rid of all this. But I'm getting a little wheelbarrow around
Yeah.
around midsection. So
Yep.
Yeah,
I
so
feel the
I
pain.
was up at 175. I think my lowest was 145. So I was like, and
Man,
then I
fighting
did
him
that
on featherweight.
blood pressure when we were there, so that didn't make me happy. So I've been exercising, but I jumped on the scale today and I am down to 163.4.
nice,
I'm heading
Mike.
towards 145. I'm doing the jump rope, the trampoline, and then Brenda and I went out for a run. 90 something degree weather yesterday. That was a mistake. But
Ooh, that was a
That
mistake. Yeah.
is, dude, that's 140. I mean, I know you're not tall, but I feel like 145 is just like
That's
light.
small. I
yeah,
feel like that's small.
lighter than Noah.
We're the same weight.
I don't know if you need to get
We're the
that
same
low.
height. Yeah, so I'm
5'8" and a half. 5'8" and a
I'm
half.
188 right now. So like
But you're like
my-
muscles. I don't have the.
my pure muscle state is probably 175 though. Like
Gotcha.
if I'm like full muscle state, like seeing the six pack, that's probably closer to 175, maybe 180. This 186, 188 is a little soft. It's a little soft. It's not.
I'm one.
it's not my best form.
I'm 165, so I'm 10 pounds lighter than you. So
It's, I feel you on that, G, because, I'm like, I was always my whole life like 175, 180. And then I finally
You're like
last year,
you're like a
I
foot
worked
taller
out.
than me, bro. Like you were
Oh no, I got
literally-
so I got up to I got up to like 192, 193. And then over the last like 6 months, I've lost some muscle mass, but I'm still like the same weight. And I'm looked down, I'm like, oh yeah, because it is added to the belly. That's where the offset is.
Yeah, it's not good. I did measure my legs though. So leg update from the year of leg day, continuing year and a half of legs.
nice
Oh
job.
my God, you're out of control.
When I started at the beginning, I was 21-inch legs, and I measured in January, I was 25 and a half, and I just measured, I'm 26 and a half inches. So the legs are still
Wow.
growing, even if not as much as
nice
you know,
job.
they were from the
You're out of
beginning.
control.
That's
is out of
amazing.
control.
That's amazing.
I should probably do leg day once in a while.
Bro, the
I always
last
say
Don't be
basketball
that
is my leg
guy.
day, but not really.
Don't be that guy.
don't be that
Well,
guy.
the problem
I
is
was
you
that
play
guy.
ball and you like it's a workout. Like my legs are
It is,
torn up
yeah.
after I play ball. So then like I don't want to go do leg day the next day because I'm like gonna just blow something out.
No,
Right.
I would totally count basketball as a leg day.
Yeah.
Like
Yes and no.
yesterday my leg day was calf raises. Like I went and I did like weighted calf raises, like 500
Oh,
pounds,
nice.
and then I did like I don't know 30 squats with 135 pounds. And
And while you were doing the reps, you were thinking about all the ways to make money.
I was thinking of Alex Hormozy. I was like, this guy does calves, so I'm gonna get rich like Alex
True.
Hormozy. Like
Dude,
he does
I'm
calves,
always
I do
amused.
calves.
Every time I see a reel from him, he's just like on stage with cut off jean shorts. Like when I say
Right.
cut off, like
Why does
old
he
school,
always
like
have that thing
1980,
on his
like
nose?
he cut the jeans himself
Because he's a
and
little
a
bit of a
tank
tool,
top
to be honest,
and a
Mike. He's
hat.
a little bit of a tool. I love Alex. I
Yeah,
learned
like
so
he
much
literally
from
looks
him,
like he walked out of a 1986 like California like beach movie,
Yeah.
yeah. He
I
spent
just
too
don't
much time on the
understand
West
the
Coast.
nose
That's what's
thing.
and
wrong
he's
with him.
just dropping knowledge on
I
a
don't
whiteboard.
understand the nose thing. That's the
Yeah. He wants to breathe in more oxygen, during the day while he's awake. He wants,
Gotcha.
because
I
it
mean,
is
he
good for the
gives
brain, right?
sure, for sure.
he gives zero F's about his appearance, and that's good for him. Adam Sandler mode.
So
I had I had a
so
friend tell me Alex Hormozy's like, she's like, if I was Layla Hormozy, like I would be rip shit. I would be like really pissed off that this is what is happening to my husband. But Layla doesn't seem to bother mind
That's
at all.
awesome.
She's like,
I know I couldn't.
he lets him
I couldn't
go.
get away with if I dressed like that. Oh my god, I would not hear the end of it.
Dorito
I
lets
mean,
me
I
dress
don't.
like
I don't hear
that
the
at
end
the
of it.
gym.
How I
Like that's
dress
the
now.
end of.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Mike,
I've been doing like 10 sets of 200 jump rope every morning. And I
Nice.
also am on the trampoline for a half hour. So I said
Nice.
yesterday, I did that in the
A
morning.
long time on
I
the
did my
trampoline.
105
Nice.
push-ups as well.
105.
And so but Brenda's like, I need to get out of the house. Let's go for a run. So we run up this hill here, which is like steep as hell, like I said, and 90 degrees. I'm not used to this. We're running back, and the back of my hamstrings were just screaming, screaming.
Coming down the hill, right? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
like
and just
movement
getting
of-
home. I'm just like, I just want to be fucking home. It's like 3 miles there and 3 miles back, but there's a
Oh, dude.
thing. But I already did the 2000, all that other stuff. So I was just thinking because Mitch said his legs are torn up from playing basketball. Mine were torn up.
Yeah, it was actually cooler down
That's
here
intense.
yesterday than it was up north.
Yeah.
I know Tim was telling me they were dying working in that 90-degree heat yesterday. But yeah,
Right.
I went and played ball, and it was better weather as far as like heat and humidity than Massachusetts and Rhode Island, apparently.
Hey, so we're a real estate podcast. So Mitch, tell us what you're doing this weekend coming up here. What are you working on? What's your project?
I'm working on making money.
Oh, yeah.
We have
Organize and collect.
exactly. We have 2 projects that have been going on. Rental that we decided to sell. So that I wanted to have listed honestly 2 weeks ago. So I was up there 3 weeks ago, and I'm coming up again to help finalize that. So Sunday,
Nice.
we're gonna finish off some key items that need to get done before the photographer gets there, and pictures, and then get it
What
listed.
is that? How many
Tuesday.
units is that one?
It's just the 2 unit that we're gonna 1031.
Nice.
So this one's cool because like we're gonna make sick money on it, but we're not gonna make sick money on it because we're not cashing out because
Oh, right.
I don't want to
Buying
pay
something
taxes. But we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe we won't 1031 all the money, and take a
Mm.
little bit and just pay a little bit of taxes.
Called the
but yeah,
boot.
little
What's
partial
that?
1031.
Boot. They
Yeah.
call that the boot. If you
the
just
boot. The
keep
boot
some,
sounds like a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
just want to
1031.
finally get that thing listed, and then we have a 2-family flip as well. That one is coming along, and the goal is to have that one listed, I think, for the weekend after 4th of July. So it'll be tight though. Still a lot to get done, but it's coming together nice, and
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
look forward to selling that one because that's going to be the payday. So, make some
Sweet.
money, recapitalize the business, and then on to the next, which will be a cash out refi on a 4 that we own for a couple years now. We're gonna,
Nice.
yep, that's the one I got insulated for free. So now we're gonna do, we're gonna reside it. Because once we do that, it'll, be solid. Like we'll be able to get a good appraisal on it, and that will make for a nice cash out. So yeah, I should have a few closings
Sweet.
over the rest of this year, and that's if we don't scoop anything new, which
Right.
I'm probably getting ready to put an offer in on another 2-family that's been sitting. I just gotta do a little research. There's some question marks, but like I said, the 2 families seem to be the best flips right now in New England.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yep. I'm with you 1,000% on the 2 families.
yeah, so focusing on those, and then the 2-family that we're gonna sell, I don't know what we're gonna 1031 into. It's gonna be basically best deal I can find,
Right.
So I'm
Right.
not really focused on number of units or things like that. It would probably stay in Massachusetts, but I mean, I have thought about registering that LLC to be able to do business in Florida and maybe buying something down in Florida. Just because I keep talking about investing in like Ocala
Yeah.
area, or
Sure.
Tim wants to invest down in like Southwest Florida because
Talk
he's
is
got
cheap,
family down
Mitch.
there.
Talk is
What's
cheap.
up?
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. I'm just saying that maybe,
Oh yeah.
maybe you do
Well,
it.
I'm throwing out options. Like it's either going to be 1031 to something in Massachusetts, locally, and just, another cash flow property that Tim will manage, or, with something, basically just get more units and build more equity.
Yeah,
Or
we were
yeah, maybe
thinking
we'll,
about doing the same thing. We have this 6-unit Newport that we bought for 670, and now it's worth like 1.5. And I was like, it gets great cash flow. It's amazing. But I was thinking that if you sold that thing, the mortgage is only like 500 on it. So you'd have, we think we could even get like 2 million for it, which means you'd end up with
Jesus.
1.5 million, which means you could buy a $6 million building. So
Yeah, you look at your ROE on that property.
Man, that sounds
If-
like some set for life scenarios right there.
right?
Yeah, you and your partner could that's just one more passive stream of income where it's like
Mm.
slap it into a DST, like a Delaware
Right.
statutory trust that's paying 6% interest, pay no taxes, roll it in, 1031 exchange, done for the
Yeah.
next 6, 7 years.
And somebody else is managing it because it's the
Somebody else is managing it.
DST. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm back and forth on that. I was actually talking to a good buddy of mine who lives in Ocala now. I know him from down here. He was
Okay.
living in Cooper City, and he basically sold his family business and moved up to Ocala where his parents retired. His sister's up there, has a business, and so the business that he sold, the owners are basically just like they couldn't handle it. They're giving it back to him. Like they've paid him 160 grand over the year they've had it, and they're just giving it back to him. So he made
Wow.
160K.
Wow.
He's getting the business back. He still owned the land because he was renting them the land. And he had another buyer like a year ago that was interested in it, but they wanted to buy the land and the business. They didn't want to like rent. So he circled back to them, and he's just going to sell them the whole thing now. Right. And he's like,
Nice.
I'm like, capital gains and this, that, because like it's a good chunk of money. So he's doing seller financing, right? So he's not going to get a balloon payment until year 5. But, he was talking about like, because he's not really super familiar with it. He's like, he's like, what is it? He's like, is that 1033 or something? I'm like, you must be talking about 1031 exchange.
Nice.
So yeah.
job.
So like his plan is to, roll into some other kind of real estate thing. And I'm like, bro, there's more like this, because he wants to be passive. And then I was like, well, there's these things called DSTs and blah, 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 blah. So it was just funny because Gualter was talking about it on Be the Bank. And so it was fresh in my head. But that's something I'm interested in. But at the same time, I'm hesitant because, passive is great. But then when it comes to passive, I have to trust someone else to execute.
Right.
And,
Evaluate the operator. Yep.
Right.
so you always got to evaluate the operator. And, the reality is like mineral rights, oil, like those things, people have had, great experiences where you're just getting paid on autopilot for years and years and years and years. But then there's also where
Yeah.
shit goes wrong. Like it runs out of oil, or they were wrong on their calculations or whatever, or,
I don't
nearly
think
as
after
well as
the
they thought.
experiences we've had over the last couple of years, I would do that. I think, yeah, I know it's kind of funny. But,
Exactly.
funny, but it's not funny. But
Funny, not funny.
we were thinking, so
not
this
kidding.
property is up not in downtown Newport. It's up past the hospital kind of.
Yep.
So we were thinking that if you could take that property, sell it and get something in like in Newport proper, like that amazing area that could never
You know
go
the deal.
wrong. Yeah.
As long as your partner's managing it, who cares? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just roll it, man. Roll it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And then you've got a property like a marquee property downtown, just
Keeps going up in value.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. It's tough decision because it's cash flows so well. It's kind of like, you
What
know,
does it
That's
bring in though? Is it pulling in like a 6% or an 8%, or is it pulling in like, 2-4% on the ROE? Like if you got $1.5 million in equity in there,
yeah.
like 10% ROE would be pulling in 150,000 a year.
Oh yeah, we definitely do that.
So
Yeah.
there's really no point ROE wise in
Yeah.
selling it. You're more looking at the fact that you could get a bigger property.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the math I was doing, because like this for a two family cash flow is huge. Like it was cash flowing 750 a month, and the reality is I can bump that up easy to 1,000 because like it's vacant now. Like, and that was one of the reasons we decided to sell, is because it kind of went vacant organically, and you know
So that's
we could
12,000 a
easily,
year, right? But
yeah,
you
we
had
could
like
we could
100 and you had like 200,000 in equity in it. So it was like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like we could easily bump, get at least 150 more a month on both units. And I'm like, man, this thing like 1,000 a month, maybe even 1,100. I'm like, for a two family, like that's crushing it. But at the same time, so when you tack on that extra amount, it's like it's probably like a 5.5, maybe 6% ROE. So it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's just like, you know what? There's a lot of equity just sitting there doing nothing, and we can roll this into something bigger. And
Right.
I was
Right.
like, even if the something bigger doesn't even cash flow as well, you're still building equity faster.
yep.
Also
And you
with
have the ability to build cash
this
flow because you have more units, therefore rents are going up on more units. And my
also
mortgage
with
rate is
this
going
one, I
up.
was thinking about Melanie's always like, don't sell anything. So with this one I think we're almost done with a 5-year prepayment penalty on it. So
Well, then you're gonna have to
Nice.
refinance it anyway. So the 5 year
yeah,
comes right back. So it's like you get this little window.
right. But then refinance it, maybe something more, well, it's actually 10-year, but the prepayment was only for 5 years.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, but you could refinance that, take the money and go buy something else if you wanted to.
The challenge though, the refinance rates are what, 7.5% right now?
Yeah, I saw a couple in the sixes
So
this
you
weekend
must be in a
closing.
3 or a 4 on that thing because you did that a long time ago.
I think it's like 5.1 because it was
That's
commercial.
commercial, yeah.
Yeah, so
So you're gonna be in 7.5, 8%. No?
sixes.
Really?
Yeah, I did closings this week in the sixes. So
On commercial?
yeah,
Hey, who are those lenders?
yeah, I'll have to find out now that you
For
said
All
I
right,
mean,
Mike,
that
what do we
that
got
that
going
was
on here?
actually that was
I
the
knew we jumped on
deciding
this call
point for
for a
me.
reason.
Because if you can refi out some money, right, and still cash flow well, then, but like when I was running the numbers like on this too, I'm just like, all right, well, if we refi out and we pull out anything that makes it worthwhile to do this refi, the cash
Yeah.
flow is pretty much gone, or it's very minimal. So I'm like, if I'm
Right,
going to do that,
right.
I might as well end up in the same situation just with more units. Like
Yep,
I can turn
yep,
2 into 4 or 5 and, have small cash flow.
totally agree. Totally
So I'm
agree.
just like,
Yep.
screw it. I mean, as much as, I like the property and the town it's in, I'm just like, nope,
Mm,
level it up.
nice. Hey, so Gualter, what happened with your Decatur property? How's it doing?
Good, man. So we're finally at the point we got 3 units left, 2 evictions. So we'll have to turn 5 more units and then we'll be at 100% occupancy, which was on the to-do list
Nice.
for the longest time, right? We started with a 60% vacancy, so 40% occupancy. And so it's been a 8-month journey to fill all the units, turn all the units. We raised 260 and for phase 1 to get the first 20 units done. Now we're in phase 2. And that raise is just about done. We got one investor coming in, and then when we're done with it, Doreena's in a refinance. So we bought it in September of last year. So Doreena's waiting for the 12-month mark to do the refinance. So that's
Nice
why
job.
when you said you got somebody in the 6s, very
Yeah,
interesting.
let me find out. Let me find out.
because we're doing okay at 12, right? We break even at 12, but
Okay.
I know at 6 we make bank, and that's the goal. At 6, I think it pulls in like $5,000 or $6,000 a month, which is
Nice.
really
Yeah.
a good spot.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Actually, at 7 it pulls in 5 or 6 thousand. So at 6 it should be better.
Awesome.
Man, there was a challenge there. We had a
Yeah.
property manager take us for a ride.
Oh, yeah.
Property
That
manager
seems to be
really-
the story. Is that
I
if
was gonna say,
you're
not the
out of
first time I've heard
state,
that from an
out of
investor.
state,
It's not even out of state because I got a property manager took me for a ride in state. Right,
Yeah.
you and I had the same property manager for a while, and so
Oh, yeah.
I got took for a ride there too. So it's more of
You're
looking at those
circulating money.
contracts,
You're circulating money. Isn't that nice of you?
feeding some families, man. That's how I look at it. But
Anyways, I
yeah,
gotta
we've
run
gotten that
at
under control.
3. I gotta get going at 3 o'clock. So,
What advice do you have for the world, Mike?
oh, I don't know. Right now, we're just kind of stacking cash and being conservative, just to see what opportunities come in the future. I'm surprised. I keep hearing now that they're not lowering interest rates this year.
I don't think it's
So
happening.
it's not going to happen this year now. So that's so
Now,
don't wait. Don't wait for that.
Yep. Nope. I don't think that's going to be a function of. I think the next few years really are right around this rate. I think this is right where we're going to be.
Yeah.
And banks may fluctuate up and down, but I don't think the Fed's going to make any changes.
Right.
And I can't see why they could or why they would. I understood these
Election.
increases.
Election.
The government, like the president, doesn't have a choice. Like that's
Yeah.
the Fed really operates separate from the.
Yeah, no, I know they
government.
do, but it's funny how an election year suddenly rates.
Under pressure.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought to find a place, because I'm sure it exists, where I could have done a prop bet, because November last year, and I'm sure it's somewhere, I had to say it's somewhere where it was actually being recorded. I was just like, everyone thinks the Fed's going to cut like 4 times, maybe more. I'm like, I'm telling you, my gut tells me there's going to be one cut. And the only reason I'm saying one cut is because it's an election year. If it wasn't an election year, I would bet on 0.
Zero.
And sure
Yeah.
enough, the cat has been on point and made no money off of it.
it's interesting you say bet. Like for me, I looked at it and I said I had just hedged my bets. I just like if the Fed doesn't drop anything, in fact, if the Fed goes up a point, am I in a good position? And if the Fed does drop
That's
something, then obviously
smart.
it's easier, right? Like who cares?
That's
But, like,
smart.
What
Smart.
decisions do I make if it goes up and continues to trend up? And then what decisions do I make if it goes down? The
Right.
down was easy. It's the if it goes up, what do you have to do? So I just spent a little more
Right.
time on that.
Well,
And
I
I'm
have
thankful now because it's stayed sideways. So like, I'm still in a better plan.
like the line of credit, so that's kind of been the motivation to just
You want to move something, but it's
pay
like,
cash. So
yeah,
we're just paying that down consistently so that it's not so painful in the higher interest rates. We're just, and it's there if we have an opportunity. So that's kind of
it's
cool.
there if the cash flow is enough to justify bringing it in. What's that HELOC at?
Yeah, it's like 8% right now,
Okay.
something
So
like
yeah,
that.
because I gave somebody the advice the other day. They were like, should I do a refinance on my house? And I was like, you got like $200,000 in equity in your house and you're at a 2% mortgage. No, don't do
Yeah,
a
right.
refinance. Like
Get a
stay
line of
right where you're
credit.
at.
Get a line of credit.
$1,000 mortgage they still had, and it was worth 500. So I was like, you need a HELOC because imagine they're gonna refinance all 300 plus 100,000 just to get
Yeah.
100,000 access. Like it's crazy. That's an extra
Yeah.
16,000 a
That's
year.
that's what they did actually with the 6 unit. They gave us a $200,000 line of credit. I mean, it's
Way better.
like 9 or 10%, but it's just sitting there. We haven't used it. But if we ever have an opportunity, it's better than hard money because
On
it's,
hard money.
you know,
And it's more readily available. No conversations.
yeah,
No like,
right.
hey, yeah, come
Gotta
take a look
check.
at it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's good for renovations. No,
yeah.
I'm very happy. Vinny said the same thing. He said he's a net seller. He's been selling most of his real estate the last 3-4 years. And he
Right.
said right now, like he's got 28 companies. Actually, now it's 30 companies. Just started 2
Holy
more.
shit.
I know. He's just raising capital for great investments.
That's
And
awesome.
they're not multifamily investments. Like that's just it's the space he has a lot of, but he's like, it doesn't really
Yeah.
work. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So He's
All
more.
right, I gotta jump.
Ah.
Sorry.
Mike, what advice do you give people? What are the words? What do we say when we get out of here?
Massive income from passive income.
Mitch, how do we get it?
Organize and collect.
I guess I
All
learned
right.
today that I could do massive income from passive income with a Delaware statutory trust. So there you go.
Boom.
Point is
Yeah.
not to work, it's to generate income. Go look up the DST. There are two, by the way, Delaware Statutory Trust and a delayed sales trust. So they are two totally different things. Cheers to your
Cool.
success. When you have a
Thanks.
choice, always
Bye,
remember
guys.
the
Have a
best.
good weekend.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.